Lucille Ball's granddaughter is plain stunning. The similarities between children and their grandparents may not be obvious at first, but when they stand side by side, there is remarkable likeness. In the entertainment industry, offspring of celebrities frequently opt to carry on their parents' and grandparents' legacies by following similar occupations. Although they may not have the same degree of talent, their physical resemblance is undeniable. Look at these celebrity grandparents and their little grandchildren. Quinn Tivey, grandson of Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was one of Hollywood's brightest actresses, and her brilliant blue eyes and double row of eyelashes were two of her most recognizable attributes. Taylor married 7 different men, 8 times, and had 4 children and 9 grandkids. One of her grandkids was fortunate enough to inherit his grandmother's excellent looks. Quinn Tivey, Taylor's grandson, inherited her beauty. When you compare the two, you'll see that they have practically identical smiles. Lisa Todd's son, Tivey, is a trustee of the Elizabeth Taylor Foundation. We're sure his cousins are jealous of him. Apple Martin, granddaughter of Blythe Danner. Blythe Danner made multiple clones, which is a win-win situation for her heirs. Fortunately for them, the former star of The Great Santini and Meet the Parents has some powerful genes. Apple Martin is just 14 years old, but she clearly inherited her grandmother's gorgeous beauty. Apple's beautiful looks aren't just due to her grandma. As the daughter of actress Gwyneth Paltrow and Coldplay lead singer Chris Martin, her beautiful features are clearly inherited from her parents. Apple is an exact replica of her mother. Nonetheless, there are some striking parallels between her and her grandma. Bailey Willis, granddaughter of Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney rose to popularity as the Beatles singer and bass guitarist in 1960. The band went on to become the most renowned band in history. Despite the fact that the Beatles are no longer together, McCartney has not slowed down and continues to create music. He's stayed in the public glare, and his family has gotten a lot of media attention as a result. Stella McCartney, one of Paul's children, has created a reputation for herself as a prominent fashion designer. Bailey Willis, Stella's daughter, seems to have gotten a lot from her grandmother. She supposedly shares her grandfather's distinctive grin and some of his characteristics. She certainly got her mother's excellent fashion sense. She also inherited her grandfather's talent for singing. Arthur Donald, grandson of Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney has 5 children and 8 grandkids, many of whom were fortunate enough to inherit their grandfather's DNA. And if you hadn't known Arthur was Paul's grandson, you may have seen him and asked, why does that guy look so familiar? Arthur McCartney is McCartney's eldest grandson. He is the son of Paul McCartney's daughter, Mary McCartney. Stella Banderas, granddaughter of Tippi Hedren. If you're born into a celebrity family, you're virtually always going to be in the spotlight. People can't help but compare you to your renowned grandparents and parents, especially because you resemble them. Stella Banderas is the daughter of Melanie Griffith and Antonio Banderas, a Spanish actor and director. She is also the granddaughter of Tippi Hedren, the famous actress. While Stella inherited numerous physical characteristics from her parents, it's clear that she resembles her grandma. They share the same eyes and nose, 2 of Tippi's most distinguishing traits and the ones that made her a heartthrob during her peak of fame. Ethan Peck, grandson of Gregory Peck. If you placed a photograph of Ethan Peck next to a picture of his grandpa, the late Gregory Peck, you might not be able to determine who is who unless the shot's in color and the other's in black and white. Gregory was one of the 20th century's most famous actors. He was nominated for numerous Academy Awards, including one for his work as Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. His grandson Ethan, on the other hand, may not be an award winner, but his excellent looks and family ties have secured him some pretty intriguing gigs. He's been performing on TV and in films since he was a child. Rose Kennedy Schlossberg, granddaughter of Jacqueline Kennedy. Jacqueline Bouvier was born in 1929 and went on to become one of America's most renowned First Ladies. She transformed the image of the First Lady with her particular grace and power while married to former President and late Senator John F. Kennedy. While Jacqueline's no longer alive, her legacy continues on, and we're not only talking about the country, we're also talking about the grandkids she left behind. Rose Kennedy Schlossberg received the famed and cursed Kennedy name, as well as a lot of money. She also received one precious trait from Kennedy: her stunning looks. Schlossberg unmistakably resembles her late grandmother, and she appears to have inherited her intelligence. Yes, this stunning lady is a Harvard graduate. Connor Kennedy, grandson of Robert F. Kennedy. Connor Kennedy is a well-known Kennedy who made our list. Connor is the grandson of Robert F. Kennedy. Robert was one of 9 children born to Joseph P. Kennedy Sr., John F. Kennedy's brother, and Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, a benefactor and socialite. Connor Kennedy drew a lot of attention when he briefly dated Taylor Swift. He never got to meet his grandpa, who died in 1968 after winning the California Democratic presidential primary. Theodore Howard Gable, grandson of Ron Howard. Some people grow up to look exactly like their parents or grandparents. Then there are individuals who, when they're young, only resemble their senior family members. Theodore Howard Gable and his grandpa Ron Howard are unquestionably the latter. The Andy Griffith Show was Howard's first job in show business. Theodore looks just like his grandfather at this age. Howard eventually became a director, working on films such as Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, and The Da Vinci Code. He married a writer in 1975, and they have 4 children together. Bryce Dallas Howard, Theodore's mother, is one of his children. Desiree Anzalone, granddaughter of Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball was a legendary television personality who died in 1989. She co-starred alongside Desi Arnaz, her on-screen and off-screen spouse. Desiree Anzalone was Lucille Ball's granddaughter, and she died in September of 2020. Desiree did not have the finest childhood, despite coming from a decent family and having remarkable parallels with her grandmother. Desiree may not have had her grandmother's famed red hair, but her black hair looked just as good on her. Una Chaplin, granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin. Many people may not recognize Una Chaplin by name, but rather by her portrayal as Talissa Stark in HBO's blockbuster series, Game of Thrones. Una is quite similar to her grandfather, Charlie Chaplin. She is, in fact, the granddaughter of famed actor Charlie Chaplin. Una Chaplin is an equally talented actress who inherited her skill from her grandfather. Aside from Game of Thrones, Una has been in other notable series such as Quantum of Solace and The Longest Ride. Tatya Starkey, granddaughter of Ringo Starr. Many people recognize Ringo Starr as a member of the Beatles, but few recognize him by his given name, Richard Starkey. Tatya Starkey is one of Richard's 7 grandkids. Tatya Starkey is also known as Veronica Avant. People have also claimed that Tatya was born to be a rocker and that she kills it on stage every time. Tatya is a guitarist and bassist, as opposed to her father and grandparents who were drummers. She not only looks like her grandfather, but she also has his musical skill. Amba Isis Jackson, granddaughter of Mick Jagger. Amba Isis Jackson is the legendary rocker Mick Jagger's granddaughter. Despite her decision not to follow her grandpa into the music profession, Amba inherited her grandfather's characteristics. Amba inherited the megastar's color and cheekbones. She's also a mother, making iconic musician Mick Jagger a great-grandfather. She called her kid River, and we believe River will get some characteristics from their great-grandpa as well. Lula Rose, granddaughter of Steven Tyler. Here's an entry from Aerosmith for our list. Steven Tyler is an actor. Aside from being a rock star, Steven is a devoted father to his kids and grandchildren. Lula Rose, one of his grandkids, is likely to follow in his footsteps. Steven Tyler is known as Papa Stevie to his grandkids, and Lula will undoubtedly grow up to notice the similarities between her and her papa. Lula has the same lips as her grandfather, except for the rich mane of hair. Amara Skye, granddaughter of Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is a well-known actress, best known for her portrayal as the singing nun in Singing Act. Amara Skye, on the other hand, only knows the actress as her grandma. Alexandria Martin, Whoopi Goldberg's only child, is the mother of Amara Skye. Skye has several characteristics with her grandma, including her grandmother's grin, eyes, and of course, cherubic cheeks. Not only that, but Sky shares the same birthday as her renowned grandma. Mason Disick, grandson of Kris Jenner. This is an odd one because we all know how the Kardashians want to distinguish themselves and their appearance. Kris Jenner appears to have some resemblance with Mason Disick, the son of her eldest daughter, Kourtney Kardashian. Mason inherited not just his grandmother's facial shape, dark eyes, and black hair, but also her confident demeanor and sassy manner. Mason refers to his grandma as Lovey, and he believes his brazen behavior will make Lovey pleased. Jude Stewart, grandson of Martha Stewart. We now have Jude Stewart, Martha Stewart's granddaughter, and based on the startling resemblance that both of them possess, we have to state that they're spitting images of one another. Jude, the oldest child of Martha's daughter, Alexis Stewart, has the same haircut as her grandma. As it turns out, Martha's been wearing this hairdo since she was a youngster. Clark Gable III, grandson of Clark Gable. Many people may not recognize Clark Gable, yet he was a legendary Academy Award-winning actor. He appeared in famous Hollywood films such as Gone with the Wind in 1939 and Mutiny on the Bounty in 1935. Clark Gable III, who inherited his grandfather's gorgeous and austere appearance, also made it into show business and became an actor himself. Clark Gable III agreed to the resemblance that everyone else observed in an interview. Jason Schwartzman, grandson of Carmine Coppola. Carmine Coppola is the composer who received an Oscar for his work on The Godfather Part 2. The Coppola family is larger than most people would expect, and it's also brimming with ability. Many people are unaware that the famed actor Nicolas Cage was born Nicolas Coppola due to a name change. Jason Schwartzman is also a member of this family and inherits his father's prominent brows, nose, and chin. Allie Austin, granddaughter of Patty Duke. Patty Duke is a well-known actress whose family has followed her into show business. Sean Astin, Patty's son, debuted in films like Encino Man and The Goonies at a young age. Allie Austin, Patty's granddaughter, is Sean's child. Allie's success in Hollywood is undoubtedly aided greatly by the features she received from her grandmother, particularly her hair color and nose. When Allie posted a photo of herself with Duke, it was difficult to deny the resemblance.